What is going on, guys? Welcome back to LOI Fan TV Season 2, Episode 11. A bumper show in store for you. We're going to be talking all things Game Week 18. We're going to be taking a look at the league table so far, kind of reviewing everyone's performance at the kind of summer break period here, 2 weeks off. So we'll be having a quick review of how everyone's got on so far. And of course, we'll be chatting a lot about how Ireland are looking ahead of a couple of massive games for Stephen Kenny, a couple of Nations League fixtures and the like. So we'll be discussing all things Ireland as well. As you can see, I'm joined this evening by Liam and Adzi. So after you, Liam, how are you keeping? Lovely Longford Town jersey on your.
Yeah, not too bad. It's good to be back after a bit of a break. Obviously, my team Longford now on a season break like most teams. So yeah, looking forward to getting my teeth into this podcast this evening. It's good to be back.
Happy days. Adzi, yourself, how are you keeping?
Yeah, buzzing. Hopefully we start off with the result of the weekend. That's all I'm looking for anyway. Just have to get into that. I am buzzing to talk about it. Wasn't even at it.
Shithouse. Yeah, you weren't even at it, pal. You weren't even at it. So we'll leave it.
What were you?
But guys, if you could do us a quick favor and drop a like on the stream, that would be absolutely fantastic. And please do subscribe as well. As you can see, we're going to keep a live tracker at the bottom of the screen throughout the stream this evening. We're on 2,992 subscribers, trying to hit that 3K mark while we're live during the show. That would be box office. So if you could do that, that'd be superb. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe. And of course, do drop a like. Much appreciated, guys. But yeah, we'll get this shit over and done with, I suppose. Go on. Fire away.
Look, I think by looking at the game and looking at the highlights after, we came out the block straight away. Obviously, Richie Taylor scoring the goal in the first 2 minutes, just immediately hit the ground running. And I was 2-0 shortly after that as well. So it happened as well in Talca Park. We just blew out the gate and just got off to a flying start. What I heard was Shells didn't actually play too bad. They're actually playing playing a lot better than they did in Talca Park that time against us, which I suppose it's encouraging to see for a Shells fan. I know the result didn't go the way they wanted, but the fact there is that confidence and able to play against Rovers and still try and impose your game, I suppose is a positive for Shells. Rovers had to change up a lot, considering Manju was suspended and Jack's been injured. So
if there was ever a chance to get you, that was it, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, probably. But look, it goes back the depth of our squad. Berkey was unbelievable Friday by all accounts. Just you couldn't get the ball off him. I've always said it. What Berkey lacks in pace, he has an ability. You're never going to get the ball off him at all. He's just so good with it at his feet. He can still dribble 20 yards, even though he's not the quickest, but he still somehow get the ball past you. Sean Kavanagh coming back into that centre half role. It's a strange one for him because like that Cavo isn't exactly the most physically imposing player in the Rovers squad. He's quite skinny, but he's so good on the ball and he's such a good defender. He's very versatile in where he can go. He can go out left if we need him. He can come into centre mid. But he's good to see him back there, and he gives us something else to offer too. Say if we would need somebody to, say if you want to rotate it, like someone go out left, he can step up to that, or even carry the ball up further up the pitch. So it's good to see him getting back in. And he's been out for ages now, and if he stays injury free, he can make that spot his as well. Like it's just going to show his the squad's quality. But happy enough with it. So I know it didn't seem like the best of games to watch, but I think there were positives on our side as well as Shell's side by all accounts.
Yeah, because even from Shamrocks' point of view, it's a tricky Shells team in good form, 4 wins and a bounce. It's not going to be an easy game, but it just goes to show you can be missing 2 of the best attackers in the league, Byrne and Mandrew, 2 of the best front 3 players in the league without a shadow of a doubt, and your front 3 still Richie Taylor, Rory Gaffney, Graham Burke. Like it's just it's silly, really, isn't it? The depth in the squad is outrageous. Liam, what were your thoughts on that result?
From what I was told, it was Shell's actually played pretty decent. Like, obviously Rovers' depth and everything like that is always going to be a huge factor. Home fans, anytime I've been to Rovers this season, it's been a great atmosphere. The fans are always up for it, even in the stand behind the goal. So that's always going to be a factor. Obviously, then I was at Talk of the week before against UCD. I thought they played. It was always going to be a really scrappy game, really, against UCD. But they got the points in the end. Bit of a dodgy penalty awarded for Sean Boyd. But Rovers, I know I had Derry at the start of the season, but they're starting to implode a bit. So Rovers are looking good. They're looking good and they're getting stronger each week. Obviously, Mandrew was in the stand with Jason Malumbi, I believe, which is good. But it's also good to see Dano is in the squad, not in the squad, but like if there's an injury in the Ireland squad, that he'll get the call up, which is great to see because he's playing very well this season, and he just needs to be consistent, really. So I think Rovers probably deserve the 3 points here. The Shells and Duff's really got his team now, kind of solid team. Sean Boyd and Griff's friend up front are really playing very well up top. But yeah.
Took me a second, that I didn't have a clue on it. Yeah. No, very solid 3 points for Rovers in fairness. And it's that level of consistency, picking up these results. Don't even have to play the best, but just getting those results, like of Derry and stuff, just dropping an awful lot of points. But yeah, Rovers just seem to be always kind of getting over the line and just having enough. Comments coming in here. Ultras moving behind the goals had a huge effect on Tallagh's atmosphere. At least the away fans got a nicer section because of the move. Yeah, it has made the much more of a kind of that match day experience a lot better, hasn't it? Really.
Well, they're getting the Palmeiras fans in, Dublin-based Palmeiras fans in now as well in Rovers, so that's kind of adding to it as well. As well, talking about the fans, another 7,000 in Tallaght on Friday night. I think Shell sold out their allocation too, which is, again, it's great. I think Rovers are now averaging 5,500 per week, whereas 10 years ago that's a sellout every once so often, maybe for a Bows game, if even. So that's another positive from both Shell's point of view and a Rovers point of view. We're still sending out these big Dublin derbies and so on. So it's looking good from that point of view now, especially this year. I think it's the highest attendance there's ever been in the league for a while. So not probably ever in the
average
league right now.
Ever,
so
yeah, definitely. It seems to be kind of a lot of positives. For sure. We will move on, thank God, to UCD drawing 1-1 with Sligo Rovers. Carlos Sullivan opened the scoring for Sligo here after 54 minutes, and Dylan Duffy with the equaliser after 69 minutes. Decent point for UCD. Definitely, after taking the lead against UCD, to drop 2 points, definitely disappointing one for Sligo, you'd have to say.
It was a bit of a I'd say for Sligo, you'd be very disappointed coming away from the ball without the 3 points. Obviously, they're still trying to get back on track since Liam Buckley's got the sack. It's very quiet, though, on that front, really, who's going to get that job, which is a bit of a worry. Caulfield was linked with it for a while, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be happening.
Galway are in a good position themselves, aren't they?
Exactly, yeah. So them and Cork are really fighting it out for promotion. So I'd be surprised if he took that Sligo job. But then again, like Sligo, I think will be concentrating more so on European football this season and that experience and all that sort of stuff more so than the league. But UCD are actually not a bad side to kind of like compare them to like the top of the table. Really, they're very hard work and kind of very hard to beat. Solid, compact. You know what I mean? They're not going to be a walk in the park for any team by imagination. So it's probably this is more so disappointing for Sligo than UCD, and I'd say UCD are happy to get a point and go into the break.
I
Absolutely,
think as
absolutely.
well, it's for UCD. They've always been like that. It's granted they might come up and go down every year or whatnot, but they have so much young talent that are eager to prove themselves and they're eager to get a move to, maybe if they're young enough, maybe to England or, one of the top clubs in the league.
Yeah,
So when you're coming against that sort of hunger, they probably won't win much at all, but they're still trying to prove themselves against the best. And as we said on here many times, it's proven to be the case. You look at the squad the players that they've produced over the years. They've produced some of the best players in the history of the League of Ireland. So they're always going to have that, eagerness and hunger to go out and get a result against, Sligo. Like they'll be delighted with that result, and fair enough, they should be.
yeah.
I know not in a bad way, but like they're only starting off in their football careers. It's always going to be hard for them. So they should be delighted with a point there, and that's not knocking them or trying to give a backhanded compliment at all. You're playing the game to win, but considering the position they're in, it's positive for them.
Is your man Dylan Duffy? Was he ex Rovers? Or he's on loan from Rovers, or is
I
he ex?
think he was.
Yeah, I think he might have been.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah,
I think he could have been. Yeah, I need to do my research on that, but I'm also positive he is.
yeah. I'm pretty sure it rings a bell. Anyway,
But they have like Evan Osam and stuff. He was at Rovers as well when he was 16. He's still only young. He's only like 24 as well.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
There's so much talent there.
Because the focus always goes on Kerrigan and Whelan and stuff, but there is other players there that do have a lot of ability and go under the radar. So definitely decent side, but they will realistically finish. Just with there's no experience in the squad, they're going to drop points. They will finish bottom of the table. Although Harps aren't a million miles away, you'd imagine Harps will be comfortably ninth this season. But moving on to the Stephen O'Donnell derby at Oriel Park, massive 3 points for Stephen O'Donnell's side. He came out victorious against his former side, St Pat's. A Daniel Kelly goal in the 24th minute separated these two. Massive 3 points for Dundalk. It doesn't leave them in too bad a position in comparison to Rovers. Like they've gone under the radar. Dundalk, kind of mentioned it last week, a little bit under the radar. Obviously, it was kind of pipped as a 2-horse race nearly very soon between Derry and Rovers. But Dundalk now are a point ahead of Derry with a game in hand as well, and they are 8 points behind Shamrock Rovers with a game in hand. So to win their game in hand down to 5 points. It's still early in the season. Definitely well in the mix for a title shout. And they're starting to pick up a lot of kind of consistent form now, and they're starting to pick up a good few results.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Lee.
No, work away, Adzi.
Yeah, they're doing well. They have that experience with Keith Ward and stuff coming in now, and they're like shells. They're slowly gelling together because O'Donnell's brought in a lot of young players, a lot of new players even, but they've shocked me in terms of like how well they've come on since. Remember, at the start of the year they were drawn left, right, and centre. They couldn't buy a win. So wasn't so much worried about them, but was just thinking where they could be. Could they finish? They could have finished, fifth. They could be up there at second, and that still could be the case. They are on a good run of form. Recent enough too. I just know when we played them, they played a very high line, and that would be concerning for me with the way O'Donnell wants to play, especially with the age and defenders he has at the back. Like they're not exactly the quickest. They're probably the only place he needs to try and improve as well, because you have Gartland still there who's starting. Andy Boyle, he's getting on as well. Yeah. So they're nowhere near as good as they used to be. They still bring that experience, of course, but that's probably the one place they need to kind of be looking at for the future as well. But they're doing well.
Absolutely. Liam, Dundalk, are they in the title race for you?
I wouldn't say so, but they're going very much under the radar and they're being very consistent. Like obviously the manager new to the club kind of had a lot of changes, not just from top to bottom, really. Brought in a lot of new players, like it's very hard to hit the ground running really from the off. So he's kind of got the consistency now, and they're putting results together. To teams playing well as well, which is of benefit. And it's going to be an interesting one how far you can really take Dundalk, because I don't know at the time. Obviously, Dundalk moving from Pats to Dundalk was probably seen as a step up for him. But then obviously with Dundalk's recent years, they've kind of fallen a bit behind, gone a bit backwards, maybe you could say. But so it'd be interesting to see if he can get them back up to Champions League, Europa League nights. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's gone well for him at the moment. So
yeah, I think a couple of additions definitely. You could do it, but just to kind of try and keep the pace with Rovers to a degree. But obviously, it'll be a very, very difficult task just financially and just trying to get the right players in as well. But definitely, definitely doing well so far with Dundalk, and as we said, kind of getting the defensive area of the team right as well, keeping some clean sheets and stuff. And I know Ati has concerns over the age of some of the defenders, which is a fair concern. But yeah, as you see, having those kind of characters in the dressing room, your Gartlands, they've just been through it all. They've won it all in the League of Ireland. They know how to. They're just so instrumental in kind of even the young lads coming into the team and stuff as well. And I think Darrell Lee, he might be playing in centre half as well, which maybe is giving them that bit of kind of youth beside him. So maybe it's a nice blend there as well. But yeah, definitely looking promising at Dundalk. And from where they were last season compared to now, it's definitely looking a lot more promising in terms of the whole structure of the club from top to bottom, really. So yeah, positive signs for Dundalk. For Pats, definitely concerning just that inconsistency, isn't it? I beating Bows 3-0 and then going losing to Dundalk. They always seem to win, lose, and just so much inconsistency under Tim Clancy at the moment.
They're quite poor, so they are. I think there's more concerns now over actually signing Owen Doyle again. Obviously, it was great at the time. I think it's kind of similar. I know Tim Clancy's new to the job and whatnot, but Pats were expected to kick on a lot better this year, but they just haven't really at all.
For context, if Shells win their game in hand, they're only a point behind Pats.
Yeah, Pats in fourth as well.
Pats are in fourth, yeah. Pats are in fourth, Sligo in fifth.
You wouldn't have said that at the start of the season at all. You know,
crazy.
It's crazy. They're quite poor at the moment. I don't really know where they need to start picking up results soon enough as well. Similar to like the whole Bow situation, Tim Clancy could find himself in trouble. Like they have, unlike Bows, they have the players there as well. They're just not gelling as quick as say Dundalk have gelled in terms of a new squad and stuff too.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. It's hard to be a Pats fan now because they're not really playing that well either. They're not really appealing to watch as well. Now Chris Forrester has those moments of brilliance, but they've kind of.
I think if you can cut him out of the game, like they haven't got much else kind of creative wise. Like Darragh Burns, of course, but he needs someone to get the ball to him. Owen Doyle needs chances created. If you can cut kind of Chris Forrester out of the game, I think you go a long way towards shutting St Pat's down.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with that.
But yeah, definitely concerning signs, and a lot of fans starting to get on Clancy's back, which is definitely a concern as well. You definitely probably give him more time to try and turn it around, but with the money spent there on the likes of Owen Doyle, his wages won't be cheap from a League of Ireland's perspective. So yeah, there is definitely pressure there to turn things around and to get them into Europe, really, because if they don't get European football after spending that money, yeah, it's not a good look. It's not a good look at all.
Especially, I don't know what his deal is either.
I'd say it's a few years as well. It's 3 years, isn't it?
Yeah, like he'd want to settle down. I don't know why. It's especially he's 34 now. You know, he was a great player, but it's
such a risky move, isn't it?
Very risky. They're kind of, I think, with signing on Doyle, I think I nearly predicted them to be up challenge with us.
Yeah,
in that regard. But
I thought he'd be hitting like Pat Hoban peak levels, like 28, 30 goals, like that kind of, like one of the best goal scoring seasons in League of Ireland history. That's what you'd be expecting. Like,
yeah, despite his age, he was still wanted in League One, League Two for a reason.
League One, yeah, absolutely.
And now it just hasn't worked out well for him.
I think it's maybe a case of the chances not being created, though. Might be a degree of that. Like, it might be, if you played in Shamrock Rovers' team, you might be like, it could be a completely different story. We could be having a different conversation, kind of. So it's hard to know. Like, there probably is a couple of different kind of layers to it. Like,
like that. If you shoot out Forrester, a lot of things free up for the opposition. If you can shoot out Forrester, then that's nearly our game won. You just have to come up with everything else then.
Tim Clancy hit his ceiling at Drogheda. I should have stayed there for a few more seasons before jumping up. I think he had to take the chance. I think he had to go for it, didn't he? I think he had to back himself, and I think you do as a manager, don't you? Like, you have to kind of back yourself and go to the bigger club and try and prove yourself at the highest level possible.
Stephen Bradley.
Unless you're Stephen Bradley, he knows he's not good enough. That's the problem. No.
Listen, I don't care.
Haven't trusted Clancy since his Kilmarnock side failed to prevent Rangers winning the title on the last day of while back. A long while back, yes. Questions here coming in about the Nations League. We will get on to our international chat in a little while, so make sure to stick around. But touching on Derry City, definitely concerning for them. Slipping a little bit down the table now in third place. They are currently 1 point behind Dundalk with a game extra played. Those three are kind of cut adrift. In fairness, Derry, Dundalk and Rovers are kind of starting to create that little bit of a gap at the top of the table. But Derry definitely slipping. Just with the standards that they've set from the start of the season, I think we were all expecting them to kind of last the course. We all had concerns maybe about the squad depth, and obviously the Michael Duffy injury was a huge blow, and we all know what his ability's like, and there's no need to even discuss how much of a blow that was going to be for this Derry City side. But they do have smashing players of Will Patching, who of course actually got on the score sheet here. He's got a good few goals now this season. Jamie McGonagall's been banging them in from the start of the season, and they've got countless others as well that can cause a lot of problems for opposition sides. So I think it is definitely a surprise that they failed to beat Finn Harps at home. But I'd say for you that was not a huge relief, because you were starting to build that gap. But it's a nice sight.
Oh yes, absolutely. Still, it's it's kind of shocking. They've out of 4 games they got 1 point, and that 1 point is against Harps.
Is that what it is? Is that the stat?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I think so, because they lost to us.
That's the Shells,
and then who else?
I think
the Shells they lost again.
Shells beat them a little bit ago, I think. Yeah, did they?
I think it was 3 on the bounce they lost.
I think we beat
Sligo.
Them today,
Sligo
beat them today. Yeah.
So us Dundalk and Sligo beat them. Then they had obviously this game, and I was fair enough. They drop points against us. They lose against us. Dundalk, okay, maybe, but against Sligo and Finn Harps, that was shocking. And I think Finn Harps took the lead as well.
Yeah,
they went 1-0 up pretty quickly.
Filip Milivojevic scored the 8th minute. Will Patching cracking goal in the 22nd minute to equalise. Eric McWoods put Finn Harps back in front in the 61st minute, and Owen Toyle in the 90th minute equalised last second of the game. So yeah, definitely disappointing. Very
I think
concerning.
It's a bit, just obviously it's a concern at the moment, but I think it's just that kind of bad spell you have. Every team has one. This is just exceptionally bad for Derry. It's you don't really see that. Like Rovers at the start of the year, we lost to Derry, then a few weeks later we lost to Pats, but then since then we've kicked on, and to be in the position we're in now is great. But Derry, this is like an exception. By all means, it's not too much to worry about if you're a Derry fan. If you're expecting to win the league this year, that's fine. But like, it's the start. It was the start of something as well. The new owners coming in, probably starting like a new squad. Obviously, it's frustrating because you want to go and win the league, but it's you can kind of it's not really, it's kind of like would have been more of a surprise if they did win it or go on. Not saying they still can't. They can well catch up. Yeah, they're quality, and it's got off to a great start. So I wouldn't be concerned for Derry in the long run. You would be disappointed, but it's as well. I think it's for Finn Harps. They're always going to get that sort of result as well. They always do a job on one of the top teams at some stage of the season, and it was desperately needed too. They've been under pressure. I think Ollie Horgan's probably under the most pressure he's been in his time at Finn Harps, so it was good for them to get the results too.
Yeah, just to keep that bit of space between them and UCD. I think it's only 2 points between Finn Harps and UCD at the moment, so not an awful lot. Liam, what was your kind of thoughts on this one?
I think Derry are slipping big time, really. It's Finn Harps, like for Derry, should really be bouncing back. Obviously, after the 3 losses they had at home to Finn Harps, who are, as Adzi said, with Ollie under a lot of pressure. And that result for Finn Harps. I know they obviously conceded in the last minute, but that sort of result could maybe get Finn Harps kind of motivated and kind of push them forward a bit. Because that's a massive. I know they, as I said, he's conceded in the last minute, but that's stuff like that. Ollie can kind of build the motivation around. Try pick up a few points now after the break. As for Derry, though, I don't know, with the manager, like, it's going to be very hard to pick your team up after the break with them sort of results. Only 1 point and 4. I think Dundalk will probably have more experience, especially with the manager, to even kind of hold off that second spot now. I know it's a long season, but I just think Stephen and stuff have more experience, more so than Derry, with the new squad, new manager and everything like that. So it'd be interesting to see how that kind of battle for second goes.
Yeah, be very interesting, and it is a shame that we're kind of talking about it as a battle for second already, but it is looking like the case, unfortunately, with Shamrock is kind of just peeling away a little bit at the top of the table. And it's just about having that consistency, as you say, in the squads, like having that bit of experience in Rovers is have that in abundance, and they didn't need to bring an awful lot in over the winter. They only brought in 2 players, and 2 smashing players it was, and added so much to the team, but like they've just got so much quality. And very few areas of weakness, whereas you can pick holes in kind of every other team in the league, really. So yeah, it's just looking like a foregone conclusion in terms of the title race. But yeah, that battle for second should be intriguing. I think talking about the international break, I think it probably came at the right time for Derry, just to get a bit of a break and just to try and regroup and go again. Last 5 games or so have been fairly poor results wise. So it's just a case of just having that break, regrouping, getting your heads back on and just going again. And but that, unfortunately, that is the type of game where you look at and you think that's the perfect game to kind of bounce back from a few poor results. So yeah, definitely a shame that they, from their own point of view, that they weren't able to pick it up. But yeah, as you say, it could be a massive boost for Ollie Horgan's side, and they can potentially build on that moving forward. And we'll touch on the last game. A couple of comments flying in about Bows already, so we'll touch on them now in the last game. And we're going to absolutely revel in this. I think I called this one bang on last week. I'm pretty sure Ati wasn't too far away. He went for an away win. I think I went for a draw here, and we were talking about how if Drogheda went to Dalymount Park and beat Bows, how that could be literally, there could be no coming back from that for Keith Long. And like the abuse he would have received going off the pitch would have been something else. And there is a lot of lingering doubts and a lot of lingering, I don't know what the right words are, but I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on Keith Long's shoulders in the next couple of weeks to put things right. I think, Adzi, you were saying something about a few people you know talking about if he doesn't get a certain amount of results from the next 3-4 games, then could be the beginning of the end for Mr. Long.
Yeah, it could be curtains, all right. I think we were saying last week that Bows will take the lead, but then Drogheda will come back into it as well. Always seems to happen, and it's nice to see Dylan Williams on the score for Drogheda as well, ex-Rovers, so kind of nice in that regard. But yeah, it's almost sad. So it is. It's actually sad.
Joe, I think there's a degree of Keith Long is actually like what's the right phrase? He's like paying like his own over success. Like he's overachieved so much that Bows' fans' expectations have got so high to a degree where they shouldn't actually be. Like I think he's actually like his own success with the club has brought their expectations to such a level where they're no longer reasonable for where they should be. Like it wasn't, I mentioned this before, it wasn't long ago that we were on this channel talking to Bows fans and they were delighted to be kind of staying up comfortably and things like that and kind of in 6th and 7th place and they were happy enough with that and maybe a cup run and stuff. So I think it's potentially like a level of his own success with the club has got the fans to an expectation level where it's unreasonable and unrealistic because every season they lose some like their spine, their best players. It's an impossible job for Keith Long, and I do feel bad for him. But it's always going to be the manager that gets the stick. Unfortunately, it's just the way football works.
That's it. Like I feel bad for him because as you hit the nail on the head there. He's overachieved massively, and what he's done to Bows since he took over them. When was it? 2014, 2015? He took over. Like I think it was after Owen Harry. He's done he's done stuff for them which no one could have thought and no one would have believed. Like the European run they're on last year. Like I think personally, I wouldn't like to see him be sacked. Just a football fan because he's done so well and he is a good manager. You can't deny that. He's done very well with what he has.
Yeah. I just can't take it seriously talking about Bows. You just want to smile. You're just loving it. Like you're loving it. Like
oh no, I'm adoring this. This is Rovers 9 points here. Bows in the state they're in. It's so good to see. It's good, but like I'll be honest as well and say like he's so unlucky. But it's we keep speaking about it. It's what's going on behind the scenes is what's killing them as well. He's working with terrible players, and the players that they brought in, they just haven't been great. And he's trying to develop them, and maybe they'll move on next season. Then he has to bring another flock of players in. I feel a little bit bad for him, but that's as far as it goes for me.
Yeah. Liam, we're saying isn't Bows' next game is a trip to Tala, isn't
it? I think it's at the end of June 24th.
June 24th.
Okay. Yeah, they have a few games. I think it's 2 before the trip to Tala. As we said, like if it could be curtains really for them if they get demolished in front of a full house in Tala, because I believe there was only like 50 tickets left today for that game. In the Rovers hole, like obviously not in the away section. I'm not sure about that allocation, but I think it's a very tough job. Long has always got, and I think this year he might be finding it difficult because like the players he's brought in just really aren't up to the same standard that he let go, unfortunately. And then there's like the likes of like Ryan Cassidy, who's on loan from Watford, and has he even made an appearance or what's happening there? Like, you're just taking players on loan for the sake of it.
Bringing back Chris Twardek as well just hasn't worked.
Yeah, it's just I feel like Dawson Devoy could potentially leave at the end.
I think he wanted to, probably, didn't he? I think he I don't know what the actual I don't know what the actual storyline was there, but it did seem like Devoy probably wanted to go to. I think it was MK Dons at the time, wasn't it, or something?
Andy Lloyd said the same thing. And that's where he ended up.
Would you take Devoy at Rovers?
You can carry Dylan Watts' bags.
Actually, just don't need Devoy at all.
No, we don't. We don't. But the funny thing is, we're still trying to fucking take him. That's the thing.
Yeah, why not? Squad rotation. It's a long season.
Why
that? Oh, so good.
That'd be the end. If we took him, that would be it. Foul Bowles. Foul the club.
Curtains. Bowles have only won one Friday night home game since the start of October.
Hardly.
Is that true?
I think it is.
No,
Yeah.
that can't be true.
That's outrageous, isn't it? That's really poor.
Did you see the thing doing the rounds on Twitter? It was like, if Bows didn't concede in the last 30 minutes of them
I hate
games
that
or
shit.
something,
Yeah.
they'd be like second.
Shut up, like, give it a rest.
What was the thing? If Liverpool
Yeah.
had won the league by aggregate score, if they had won all the games by aggregate score, they would have won the league or something.
Yeah. If my auntie had balls, she'd be my uncle. Like, that's literally
exactly.
it. Like, you know what I mean? A couple other stats coming in. We've only won 4 since July 3rd as well. I presume that's to do with home Friday night games. 4 games since home games since
can't
July
be
3rd.
true.
I want to have a look at this. This can't be.
That's a stat. No way.
That's nuts.
That's
Because I always thought both kind of pride themselves on their home form. It was always their home form that kind of got them through and stuff, but it doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Hardly a better away than they are at home.
Question for the Rovers fan, forgot his name. Can you see Rovers making any summer signings? If so, who would you like to see in?
Oh, Jesus, I haven't even thought about that. Should we even
There's
make
one
any?
that comes to mind for me anyway.
Yeah, same.
One.
Ed McGinty. That's the only one I can think of.
Oh, yeah. I could see him at the end of the season.
And I think next year, yeah.
That's because I don't think we'd sign him because, in fairness, the man is he's played well. So I don't think they'd want to sign McGinty and then get him out of the and the kind of not force Manus out, but give him less game time. You know, I can definitely see McGinty at the end of the season and when his contract is up. There's no point in signing him halfway through when you can nearly get him on a free. Then, you know, but
yeah,
summer signings. No, I don't think we don't really need any. You know, not even in a funny way. It's like
no, you don't. Unfortunately,
maybe a centre forward. I don't know, like another type of Gary O'Neill sort of player. It's hard to think of one.
I would have said maybe like a Colin Whelan or something if you hadn't got injured. Someone like that, maybe kind of coming in as a young player to kind of compete and use rotationary kind of. And if you can nail down a spot, that's always a positive. But like apart from that, maybe Liam Kerrigan or someone like that from UCD. But someone to come in and kind of challenge. Yeah, could possibly.
We could still sign Whelan even when nobody's injured because we saw Perugia and he was out with his hamstring and he only came into towards the end of 2019.
He's been awfully unlucky, hasn't he, since he's come in with injuries?
Yeah, and in fairness, he's done well this season. You can see the confidence coming back. Player. You know, taking on players and so on. He's the confidence is coming back with him. You know, it's just a matter of conditioning his hamstring. I know he's had problems with that as well. So fingers crossed for him. But any summer signings, no, it's hard to tell. There's no one really out there that's available now. Would take like maybe a loan, like you get Liam Scales back on loan or something like that. You don't even like that's about it. You know, he was at the game the other night, but see what Rovers were doing. Rovers like, we've a special guest coming back to Tala. I was like, no, he's coming to see his brother play for Shells.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was super.
Positive,
I love McInnes, but he got some abuse off Rovers fans. They didn't really want to welcome him back, and I'm like, hey, hang on. He had to go. He went and made a good decision for himself. Don't be abusing the chap. He's a good player for us.
Yeah, that's silly. Carry on. The comments are flying in. We'll try and get through them all. I think they'll stick with Long for the rest of the season, but I can't imagine that Bowes higher ups aren't looking even now for a replacement for next season.
But like, who would you get in? Who would you get in? Morris or something like? Who's out there? Who's out there to take Buckley in as a replacement?
Who? Buckley. Buckley actually. Interesting.
I could see that. I could really see that.
Do all the Dublin clubs. He'll have done all the
he'd manage Rovers, Pats, and Bows.
Sport Fingal as well.
Fingal as well, yeah.
Yeah. I can't see them getting rid of them, can they? Can you? I don't know. Like, I can't imagine it at all. Like, I
don't see it getting any better.
No, how long is left on his deal now? Is it 2 years? this year and next year, or is it another year after that as well? Like that's the problem. They gave him a 4-year deal. Like they're not going to be paying him out of that. Like not a hope.
They probably can't
Not
afford it.
No, not a hope. Not a hope. There's no point.
There's no point. Like
piss money at the wall. Like
it's hard for him to get out of that himself. You know,
Yeah.
he's probably seeing the situation he's in now, and he'll probably want to leave at the end of the season. So I don't know. He's at least another year onto it.
Comfortably, yeah.
Maybe
Jesus, a
more.
4-year deal not long, a couple of years ago, I think, wasn't it? Clubs in turmoil. The board seem to bother more about climate officers than footballing matters. They deserve more of the blame than Keith. Adzi wholeheartedly agree with what I'd say.
Oh, absolutely. Like not even taking the mick here. Like it's save the bees, they say.
Did you know? Fun fact that they were 100% fan owned.
Oh, Jesus, are they?
I heard a rumor actually. Yeah.
The letter they sent out about Rovers fans throwing flares in the pitch was like, as a 100% fan-owned club, we do not conduct. Like, did you ever see that meme? What was it? The Simpsons meme, and they try to get Ralph or who was it to say something. And they're like, "Oh, say the line, Daniel, 100% fan-owned."
Yeah. So good.
It is quite. You see it on Twitter, circle it every now and then after something happens to them, and you're like,
yeah.
It gets me every time.
So good. Like, well, expectations will always rise when you've got Europe 2 years in a row and got through 2 rounds of it and made it to a cup final. Yeah, no, it's a fair point from the fans' perspective, but I think it is important to remember that like every season it's a case of he loses his best players. Like Georgie Kelly gone. Just trying to think off the top of my head here. Who else? 2 years ago, Danny Grant was gone. Andre Wright was gone. Then obviously Georgie Kelly last season. Who else was there? Keith Buckley, Rob Cornwall left as well. Dan Casey not long ago. Like it's every year there's players that just bounce. I know actually to be fair this year they've kept hold of Liam Burt and Ali Coote and stuff. So like they'll be gone. They'll be gone soon. Yeah, they'll be gone soon. They didn't get Europe last season either, didn't they? Actually, just trying to think. Yeah. So don't even have that to look forward to this season. So I'm surprised that they stayed because that would have been the only reason I would have thought they would have stayed for that. I'm trying to think. Like they lost. Keith Buckley obviously is a huge loss, and even Andy Lyons, of course, as well. It's really shown what he's all about this season. It's so hard to replace these players every year, and I think it's just that one step too far where they might have got a couple of the wrong signings in or something, and this hasn't worked out. But like even playing Jordan Doherty, I know he's not doing too badly, but it's playing him at centre half. It's not what he brought him in to do. He brought him in as midfielder. Like it's not worked out at all. Even getting rid of Anto Breslin, I thought was probably a poor shout. I think he's probably a better defender, definitely a better defender than Tyreek Wilson. Tyreek Wilson might have more about him in terms of maybe set pieces and going forward, maybe. But I think Anthony Breslin is an all-round fullback, definitely the better option. So maybe it was a case of more money at Pats and European football. Maybe they kind of had that. It's hard to know what went on behind the scenes, but it's just been his team gets decimated. Yeah, exactly. Well, you can't progress without it.
You have to, you know.
I think Shells are full time as well.
Yeah, Shells are full time. That's why Colin Byrne left, didn't it? When he left a few years ago, he has
Ryan
to be full time.
Left for Drogheda this year.
You have to do it in order to progress, especially even at this level. You know, you can see the more clubs that have come full time around the league the last few years, the better they've gotten from it. And everything's improved around the club, whether it's facilities or, games and general performance. It's just the way to go. And Bows won't do that. I've said it umpteen times on this before. Bows won't progress unless they go forward. You know, it's tough for them. You know, I do genuinely fear they'll be left behind. Yeah. Even UCD, I've said it. I'd rather be a UCD player because at least you have a backing. You've something to fall back on. No, in all seriousness, you do though. You have a degree.
College is paid for
exactly. You have something to fall back on. I'd rather be if I was a young player. I'd rather be going to UCD because if it doesn't work out,
they're both Shamrock Rovers academies anyway.
Yeah, fact, absolutely. Yeah, there you go. UCD is UCD. Bleeding Bows is Blanche IT. You know what I mean? With all due respect to Blanchard T, but you know what I mean.
And then he says we got the talent in the forward areas to get into Europe, but the defense is all over the place. I think he's kind of failed to replace Georgie Kelly, be the only kind of thing I'd have on that. Ryan Cassie doesn't seem to be making a mark really. I know Promise has a lot of promise as well, but shocking. But yeah, it's just Georgie Kelly. That is what he was. 28 goals last season, 30 goals last season, something. It's just impossible to replace really, like at League of Ireland level. To be fair, UCD have as many wins in daily amount as they have as Bows since November.
No way.
Where are these stats coming from? I don't know if people are making these up now.
UCD beat Bray in daily amount in that playoff game.
And that's they haven't even beat Bows this season. Like. Oh my god.
David, we need to get you on to do all these stats for us.
Yeah.
I say he's a Wikipedia merchant. I love him. So it is. Get him on. He'll whip out a few things.
We played a lot of games on last season as well, on Saturday. Blah, blah, blah. Looks like Derry going for Kerrigan. Ooh, is that true? That's a good signing if they get him in there. Liam Kerrigan to Derry.
I couldn't tell you that.
That's not a bad signing
though. Yeah,
definitely. Give them a lot of competition. Michael Duffy had injured as well. Kind of similar positions, aren't they? Really, so definitely makes sense for them to be looking for a player in that area to pitch. Here's a question for you, Adzi. Best stand to sit in, Rover stand, east or west?
Personally, I'm a West merchant. I sit there, my granddad, and just my dad, and one of the lads' dads as well. That's where we used there. But if you want to go for the atmosphere, absolutely go to the south stand. It's been rocking the last few weeks. I think I said it is. Palmyra's fan base here in Dublin have gone, and they were there at the Derry game, and now they were there at the Shells game, so they're starting to come more. You see all the vlogs, Togdan and stuff doing vlogs in there, and it's absolutely incredible the work he did for us. So if you want to go for the atmosphere, absolutely sit in the south stand. It's rocking now every Friday. They nearly set it out, 3,000 fans there, so absolutely go. But if you want a more, how would you say, chill vibe, you can come and sit with me and my granddad in the main stand or the west stand. The east stand is more like your neutral fans. That's who go over there.
Yeah,
so it is.
Then he says Keith Long's been unlucky, but the budget has increased drastically from 6 to 7 years ago when he first came in. I suppose that's a fair point. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, they got the money from Matt Doherty and so on, and
I think that's been they definitely use a lot of money off and off the field shite as well, don't they? Like not shite, but like on off the field things as well.
If they've used that to employ a climate officer, I swear to God.
They don't come for free, I wouldn't say. They don't come for free.
I'm sure, yeah.
And plastering all their logos all over Dublin bus and all as well. I wouldn't say that's free either.
DHL,
another stat from David here. Bows are one of 2 teams to have not won a match in the second half yet, along with the mighty Athlone.
This is incredible.
I'll jump on anytime. That's absolutely, David. Get you on here.
Yeah, please.
So funny.
Those are incredible stats.
So good. Lenny says Bows are going full time next year, apparently, and that they won't progress unless the board backs Keith Long with more money. And if they can't do that, then just sack him. I don't know. Hard to know. But if they're going full time next year, I suppose they have to. Like it's years too late. They have to. They has to be done. Like it's the bare minimum, to be honest.
Before they're left behind, and it'll prove them, and it'll bring in more money for everybody all together as well. So it'll be just great for the club and League of Ireland in general.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, if you can drop a quick like on the stream if you're enjoying it so far, that'd be greatly appreciated. And as you can see by the bottom of the screen, the little ticker going across, we are so close to the 3K mark. If you can't subscribe, if you are new around here, it is greatly appreciated. We're so close. I think we're only 6 or 7 away from 3K. We want to hit it on stream tonight. So if you can help us out, it is much um, and yeah, thank you for your support as always. Quickly look at the league table, lads, before we move into our international chat. Can we see the screen there? So obviously Shamrock Rovers on top with 42 points. Adzi, happy days?
Yeah, no complaints about that at all. Considering the position we were in where we'd lost 2 games fairly early on, absolutely very happy with that. The fact that we bounced back so well and now we have that gap on Dundalk and Derry, it's credit to the lads, a bit of character showing when needed, and hopefully now we can take on and just try and make that gap a little bit more and hopefully wrap the league, around October, early October time. Not saying it's won yet, but it's a great position to be in.
I saw a question in here before, lads. Before we go to it, though, I have to pull this up.
We're 19 points ahead of them.
Isn't that nuts? After what? How many games? 19 games. Like, it's nuts, isn't it? It's actually crazy. Like, but it's probably where Bows belong. Like, if you think about it, it's like, this is the comment.
Only joking.
I'm not only joking, actually. Yeah, no, it's fact. This is the comment I was referring to earlier. Can Shells make the European spots? Currently on 24 points after 18 games. What is it? 3 points, 4 points behind St Patrick, game in hand. Obviously, if Shamrock Rovers, for example, go on to win the FAI Cup, 4th place, of course, does become available then for a European spot, meaning that if Shells can climb above the likes of St Pat's and Sligo Rovers, they would finish in that top 4. Of course, it is a huge ask for a newly promoted side, and I think you have to kind of refer back to what Damien Duff said after the UCD winner, might have been before it, talking on their kind of good run of form. He said it's important not to get too low during a bad run and not to get too high during a good run. Try and stay stable and just keeping your wits about you. So I think Shells in 6th place. If you offered me at the start of the season, if you still offered it to me right now, come the end of the season, I'd shake your hand and walk away. 6th place would be a very respectable campaign after coming up from the 1st division. But listen, we can all have dreams, can't we? We can all dream.
I wouldn't rule it out in all seriousness.
No, I think we'll sign a couple as well. I think we'll sign a couple.
Yeah, in the summer window. Yeah, I don't rule it out at all. You've every right to back yourself, and they very well could be in that spot already. But like that, it's still a lot of games to go.
Of course.
So it'll be interesting to see how they cope with that.
Yeah, definitely. Liam, Shells for Europe.
Why not? Like, good squad there. Damien Duff. Why not?
Damien Duff, like, definitely have a draw to him, won't he? In the transfer market, like, that's definitely a draw to Shells.
Absolutely, and they have, like, I don't know his name, but there's a fella when I was watching him when I took my dad to talk to a CUCD. JJ came off, and this fella came off the bench, and he was just as good. Like, they have good squad depth.
Yeah,
I know it's minimal, but they have still good players on the bench to come on and do a job. Sean Boyd's now scored the most goals he's scored in a League of Ireland season. So
has he already
6 or something like that, I think.
Jesus, yeah, he's doing well.
But like, he's been injured and stuff like that. He's a lot of.
No, I know. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah. So it's good to see him kind of hit the ground. Then they have the likes of JJ and A. Dervin, who are kind of solid in the middle. And then Jack Moylan. Like, they have a good squad, young squad there.
Absolutely.
And obviously Damien is still learning his trade, so he's going to still make mistakes along the way. But why not? Why can't they go for European? Why not? Like, they're like the likes of Pats and Sligo are all over the shop at the moment. So why not?
saw that Shane Farrell's apparently being linked with Shamrock Rovers, Adzi, but he signed a new deal there recently, which is, I think it was a 2-year deal as well, which is great news. He's had a really good start to the season so far. Obviously Jed had Hakiki coming in as well. Such a promising young player. Just all around the squad, it's just looking really, really solid at the moment. And yeah, I think we've kind of found the settled 11 now, or near enough as well, which is a little bit of an issue at the start of the season with kind of keepers rotating and stuff as well. So yeah, it seems like it's all really, really positive at the moment. And yeah, I'm absolutely delighted with how the season's panning out, and yeah, excited for us to get back underway in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, we'll just touch quickly on the relegation spots then, because we didn't talk on that before. I'll just try and pull these up here. Apologies. So obviously UCD at the bottom of the table, and I didn't actually. They're kind of like, the gap's not huge with Harps there for that playoff spot, but it really realistically is a fight for ninth place there, isn't it? Really,
it's going to be it's a fight for ninth, but like that, it's still quite difficult to get out. You know, I say it was disheartening for UCD to get that draw against Sligo, and then seeing Finn Harps get the draw against Derry as well. But no, like it'll be a tough fight, all right. But it's still well on. You know, it's between them. I don't see Harps really catching up the draw. I'd be surprised. I think from Drogheda, say like Drogheda upwards, they should be staying up unless something drastically bad happens. No, it's looking like a bit of a dogfight between UCD and Harps, all right.
Yeah, absolutely. I presume everyone's money will be on Harps to survive that and stick to ninth.
Yeah, absolutely. They have that experience of getting out of there and stuff, so they're used to a dogfight.
I think they could lose a playoff though, personally. I think
possibly, yeah, absolutely.
I think Cork or Galway, I think, have a much better squad. Obviously, I watched a lot of them this season, following Longford. So they're like, yeah, it's two horse race really between them and the first division. Just a matter of who's going to kind of pip it at the final hurdle, really, and who can take the most points off each other between the two of them. But just comment.
Playoff masters. Yeah, you wouldn't back against them, like they have it in them. But yeah, it's been a tough season for Finn Harps so far. Don't say that here. But we will move on to looking at the Ireland squad, lads. Obviously, we kind of touched on it last week as when it was first announced.
It's the right one, is it?
It's the right one this time, I believe. I don't think it is it?
No, it's not even.
Oh, that was a shocker. That's leave it out. That's the right one, isn't it? Yeah, Festi and CJ. That's the right one there. Leave it out, lads. Leave it out. Fuck's sake, what a shocker.
Cracker.
I think what we'll do is, if you are all right for time, just pick one to watch each. A player who we think has passed it and shouldn't really be in there, and maybe someone who's unlucky to miss out potentially as well, and maybe just run through a joint team for the Albania match on Saturday. So maybe one to watch, Liam. Who would you say from that group?
I'm going to go for a bit of an outside shout. I'm going to say Nathan Collins. Like, nice. He's had a good end to the season, obviously, given the fact Burnley went down.
Yeah, he's so exciting. Like,
he's very good. I think he's very solid. He's definitely going to be kind of one of our main defenders for Ireland. I think he could even get one of the biggest Irish transfer fees if he does decide to leave Burnley.
Because it was 12 million before, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's double that now, probably.
Yeah. So I go Nathan Collins as one to watch for this campaign.
Adzi, one to watch.
I'm stuck between two of them. Nathan Collins, yeah, that's a good shout, but I'm going to go with Obafemi. Nice. There's kind of, we all know Obafemi and so on, but I think Kenny put it perfectly that he's improved since the first time he was in the Ireland squad. And now it's time to go and prove that. like how good has he actually come on since then? Kenny said he's improved every aspect about his game. 12 goals and 16 appearances for Swansea. You know, he's looking very good. Is there a lot of pressure on him? I wouldn't say so. I think Kenny will kind of strip that away from him and so on, considering how he's handled new players coming into the squad. And plus, he's dealt with Obafemi as well. The other one I was going to go for was Festi.
That's who I was saying. Yeah.
I don't know if he'll do much now in the squad as well, but fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think I'll say Festi. I love both of your shouts. Absolutely love them both. Can't wait to see them both playing. But yeah, Festi for me is such an exciting player. Obviously, so quick. Such a quality season with Derby County. Obviously, he's down as a forward here, but wouldn't be overly surprised to potentially see him in maybe a right wing back role. Seamus Coleman definitely. In terms of his legs, maybe his best days are behind him. Obviously, still a fantastic leader and a super Premier League player in the squad. But I think he's probably best suited to the back three with Matt Doherty out as well. Cyrus Christie, he's not for me, let's just say. And I think Festi could give us an option there, right wing back as well. I'd like to see him potentially get an opportunity there. But even playing in that front three as well, so quick, so dynamic. Really, really excited to see what he can offer us. But yeah, as I say, Nathan Collins, Olafemi, really, really excited to see them playing in the green shirt as well. Moving on to a player who we think is past it, lads. Liam, I'll start with you. Who would you say? Who are you kind of sick of seeing in the squad?
I would say if it's only one. I would have liked to seen Danny McNamara off Millwall instead of Christie, personally. Someone young, kind of. Cyrus Christie's just been around the block, hasn't really done it for me. Obviously, he's a good servant. I just would have liked to seen youth prospect and Danny McNamara come through, kind of a bit raw, but willing to put on the shirt. I'd go Cyrus Christie for myself.
Adzi.
Ross, I think I'm going to go with. I think you're going to say this person as well, but Conor Hourihane.
Nice show, yeah.
He shouldn't be anywhere near it. Yeah. I know he had a few good performances for Sheffield United this year, but surely he's past it. There's no way he should be getting in. No, I don't see him. I think he's done that well recently with Ireland. It's just trying to think of who else you can get in at the moment. It's hard to think.
Connor Coventry or something maybe,
or Connor Coventry or whatever, or Mandrew.
Connor Ronan should be in there if you ask me.
Yeah, actually,
St Mirren.
I forgot about.
Player of the season for St Mirren.
Jamie McGrath showed the faith through the hard times.
Absolutely. In fairness, she's played better for Ireland under Stephen Kennan than Hourihane never has. So, I'll take that.
I'll go for Jeff Hendrick as well as Hourihane. Yeah, Hendrick for me, I just think he's just so past it. I think he's actually been all right for Ireland recently as well.
I think he's been good for us.
He probably has. I think he has. I just don't like him. He's been crap for QPR on loan. He's just I just love to see him out of the Ireland team at this stage. I think I'm just overseeing him in there. Him and Hourihane, I'm just sick of the sight of them in that squad. I just get them out. Get blood in some fresh talent. I'm just sick of seeing it. We're not going anywhere with those two in the midfield, unfortunately. I don't think. So uninspiring. And Connor Coventry's been super for MK Dons this season as well. I know he's probably getting to get more game time in the under 21s, and that's obviously beneficial. He's in the under 21 squad, isn't he? He's still in that.
He is, captain.
Yeah. He's still allowed to play for them. He's surely on the verge of the senior setup, and I'll be actually interested to see what level he's at next season. He's West Ham, I think, on loan at MK Dons, wasn't he? He's still West Ham, I think. Yeah. So I'll be interested to see if minimum championship after the second half of the season he put in there with Troy at MK Dons. He was so impressive. So I'll be shocked if he's in League One again next year. I'm nearly sure he'll be at least the Championship next season, Conor Coventry. And yeah, definitely someone I'd like to see. And then there's probably a couple more. My head's a bit fried now. There's definitely a few more midfielders that are definitely kind of on the cusp as well. Jamie McGrath, I kind of want to see him in there. I think he's a quality player, and
he's doing well for us.
Yeah, exactly. He has that ability, and I think just backing him through the kind of tough times. It's not as if like we haven't done it before, players not playing games and stuff. So definitely a shame not to see Jamie McGrath in that setup.
I'd say be back in though, no doubt. Obviously, as a Wigan fan, you probably knew it'd be tough for him to get in with the promotion kind of lurking in the background. But even for me, like anytime I've seen Jamie McGrath play for Ireland, he's done really well. Against the likes of Portugal, probably the most memorable performance. And then, like, you know what I mean? This, not to be rude or anything, but this CJ Hamilton fella, I think Jamie McGrath deserves a lot more time in the Ireland squad through the bad patch than this. I don't even know. Never heard of him before. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't.
4 goals this season or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not for Blackpool, 20 appearances, 4 goals. Yeah, it just doesn't. Yeah, we haven't even heard of him really before, which says enough. I think not the most inspiring, but sure, look, we'll have to back up. We'll quickly just run through our starting, try and agree on a starting 11 for the Armenia game, lads. What formation first of all? So obviously, probably whatever you want to call it, a 3 at the back or a 5 at the back. Would you say it's 2 midfielders and then 3 up top? 2 wingers and a striker.
Yeah, I'd say 2 holding kind of.
Yeah,
and then
I go with that.
Something like that. Yeah. So in goal, I'm going to kick us off and say Bazunu. Would there be any kind of disagreements there? Obviously, 3 top keepers.
I'll go with Bazunu as well. I think, especially considering Armenia, it's the Nations League game. I think, bit of competitiveness about it. You want to get out to a good start in that because it's probably our best chance of nearly qualifying for the Euros. I'll go with Bazunu all day.
I'm going to go Bazunu as well, but I do think if Bazunu isn't playing at least Premiership football, I think next season Travers should be number 1.
Travers?
I think he should be number 1 for Ireland.
Wow.
You can't argue that.
Premiership with Bournemouth compared to
Championship
Bazunu, who's what's Bazunu going to be doing next season? What's Kelleher going to be doing? Just sitting as second choice for Liverpool, playing the odd game.
I think Bazunu will be playing in the Premier League next season. I think he will. There's Everton
looks like Southampton.
Yeah,
because Fraser Foster's gone, and
he's gone to Spurs, isn't he? Somehow. I think Bazunu will be playing Premier League football next season. He's far too good not to be, or even like Serie A or something mad. But he'll be playing first team football in Europe somewhere in the top flight. Travers has been rumors that Bournemouth are looking for a keeper. They're actually apparently looking at Bazunu as well. So it'll be interesting to see if hopefully he is still their number 1 come next year.
He shouldn't be though, because he was championship goalkeeper of the season last year.
Yeah, he got Golden Glove, didn't he?
It's
super season. Yeah.
If he comes to Bournemouth, obviously it's going to be a tough ask for them to stay up, and him to play well. But it'd be hard to argue that. I'd have, as much as I love Bazunu and think he's generational, you can't argue having Travers in ahead of him, especially if he's playing more games the Premier League consistently. I still think Bazunu will be there, like Ross said, but you wouldn't argue it.
So are you both saying to me now that Kelleher's 3rd choice?
He has to be
currently, like
not Kelleher's. I admire Kelleher as I think he's the best number 2 in the world, but
he's Ireland's number 3.
It's nuts. It's absolutely. I can't explain it. It's weird, but you need somebody to be playing, first in football consistently. It's a terrible position for Tradham to be in.
Yes. To a degree, like obviously, Kelleher will be looking at it. Oh, I've won what? You know what I mean? Like the titles he's won this season, the FA Cup, the Carabao, obviously the Champions League there 2 seasons ago. There's all different dynamics that kind of come into it. But who wants to be Ireland's number 1? That's the main question. Oh, I know Bazunu. I really, really like Bazunu just from seeing him in the crowd and everything. I'd say he finds wearing the Ireland jersey a real honor. You know what I mean? I'm sure all of them do, but like maybe it's just that bit extra special, especially coming through League of Ireland, all that. I'd say
everyone's rooting for him. Like,
so it's going to be interesting to see who is the number one next season.
And Bazunu hasn't put. He's been kind of. He kind of has that number one jersey, and he hasn't really put a foot wrong. So there's no real reason to kind of out him. Whereas Trevor's kind of got that chance and did kind of fluff his lines against Serbia to a degree. So maybe that kind of plays in Stephen Kenny's mind as well a tiny bit. But also young and also so promising as well. So we're in a very, very healthy position moving forward in the goalkeeper department. That's for sure. A back five. I'll just sing mine out quickly. I'd go probably. I probably will go Seamus Coleman right wing back. I think he will do that. And I think I'll go Nathan Collins, Shane Duffy, and John Egan, I think. And then James McLean left wing back. Is McLean in there? Yeah. Sorry, I thought I was saying things for a sec. Yeah.
I don't know how Stevens has got on this season. I don't know if he's been out much.
Oh, Stevens is back in there, isn't he? Of course he is, yeah.
But I don't know. I think he'd stick to McLean just out of familiarity as well. McLean's done well there, so there's no reason for him to be taken out.
I'd say, yeah. I just don't think Coleman has the legs for a right wing back.
No, I know. It's just because Doherty's gone. It's Johnny. I think he will have. I don't think there's any other. I don't think he'll throw Festy in there for the first game.
Yeah, I don't think. I think Festy's minutes will be very limited in this campaign.
Yeah, I think so as well.
But then I just don't know. Coleman will worry me at right wing back. But I don't want Cyrus Christie near just to set it. Dilemma that is. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to go with your team you picked, Ross, because I don't.
The only one you can maybe say O'Shea maybe getting in ahead of Egan or something possibly. I think Collins and Duffy have to play. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Egan and O'Shea is in a debate about maybe Egan for the experience, but then again, O'Shea's he's done well, so it's hard to know. Like
he's only really back though, isn't he?
He's only kind of getting back into it. He's been injured and stuff. Like I'd go. I'd definitely go Egan. I think for this one, for the first game up, just to get a bit of confidence up. The midfield too is quite tough. I think Josh Cullen is probably a no-brainer, and then alongside him, don't want to even see him in the squad. If this is a predicted team, I think I'm going to have to go with Josh Cullen and unfortunately Jeffrey Hendrick.
Yeah, I think
that's probably the two that he'll go with.
I'd love to see Knight in there, but I just think if
same.
we're going to be realistic, I just think it's going to be Cullen and Hendrick. He might switch it up though. You never know, like because there's a lot of games in this campaign.
Yeah,
I think there's 4 games in 11 days, so like he's going to need his whole squad realistically, and a lot of players won't be able to play 180 minutes, or you know what I mean. So that he will need to utilize his squad. So I could see a variation of this midfield. Could see Cullen Hendrick, or then you could see maybe Malumbi and Knight start another game. You know what I mean?
Cullen suspended, so that's a spanner in our works. Hendrick and Jesus is a Connor. Maybe Malumbi.
I'll give Knight the show.
Knight, maybe, yeah.
I was going to go Cullen and Knight, but no, I'd go for, if Cullen's suspended, I'd go for Hendrick and Knight. Or no, even Malumbi and Knight. Malumbi's probably more that hold the midfielder.
Yeah,
so Hendrick could be, and Knight could be more of the attacker.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays 3 central midfielders and then 2 strikers because we're away as well. To be honest, I would not be overly shocked to see that kind of more reserved lineup, like maybe like a Hendrick, Horahan and Malumbi or something like that, or Hendrick, Knight and Malumbi or something. I think the only one that I definitely know is I'm confident isn't starting is Alan Brown. But then again, he could, like, it actually is impossible to, like, he's just one of those players you see him on the team sheet, like, you're not even surprised to see him there, like, but yeah, it's tough. I think I'd edge it towards with Cullen out. I'd like to see a young lad in there. I think Malumbi probably more likely to get the nod than Knight potentially for the first game because we're away as well, just because he's more defensive, and then it's probably Hendrick, Malumbi and Hendrick probably. Tough though. Tough.
I'll go for Malumbi and Knight.
I like that. Like, I think that's the future.
I also like Alan Brown though. I think he's very good and very underrated. And international level.
Mm.
I could see Brown and Knight starting. You know what I mean? It's just
Brown, has he played right wing back, or am I making that up in my head? I think he's played right wing back for us before, hasn't he? Or am I making that up? Possibly. Could have done. Definitely played right. I think he's played in the front three before, definitely, Alan Brown.
he's played a lot of positions, I'm pretty sure, for Ireland.
Yeah, I think he has. I think the front three, I think Robinson and Ogbene are the definite two. And if there is a third forward, I think it's probably between Troy Parrott and Michael Obafemi. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Would you say? Probably.
If
I think he's going to. Sorry,
if it's the three in midfield, sorry, what were you saying?
I think if it's the three midfield, it'd be Robinson and Benny would be up top then as a two. But if there's a third forward, it's one of Parrott and Obafemi. I just think because we're away, I think he'll be a little bit more reserved and go with that 3-man midfield and then 2 up top.
I think Ogbene and Robinson are nailed on. It's just to see whether we play the one forward through the middle and then 2 wingers. I'd love to see Obafemi. I just think we've been dying out for multiple campaigns, and it could be his time to shine now, given he's in form. But I just don't think Kenny will. I think Kenny might throw him in against Ukraine. All right, the first game being an away day. An away leg. I'd probably go Parrott. I'd say, yeah.
Or Will Keane.
No chance.
Can't say that. I go for Ogbene, Robinson, and Obafemi. So I think it'll be bold.
Robinson, Obafemi. I think that's the one everyone wants to see. I think, isn't it? That's the one everyone wants to see.
That's just pure pace.
There's so much ability there. I think it's actually that's the first time in a while I've been actually excited about an Irish strike force or an Irish attack. I feel like it's been so long since we just had so much excitement in that front three. I think Obafemi is just the form he's in. He just knows at the back of the net. He's such a good finisher. He gets a chance, he'll take it. I just think he's definitely the best finisher in that in the setup. I think, and
Parrott be hard done by as well.
Parrott is definitely in the mix. That Parrott is definitely in the mix, especially I think didn't he scored last minute winner in our last game? That'll be definitely in Kenny's mind as well. Cracking goal. And it's not to say that these players won't have an impact off the bench as well, but I think I'd like to see Obafemi thrown in the mix, but I don't think.
I think it's the first time in a while I'd say any Irish manager will go to bed the night before a game having a headache of who's he gonna pick in his squad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Between the goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, it's pretty predictable. But even the attackers, it's the first time in a while. Granted, there's no superstars yet, but in terms of what we're building, it's quite exciting and probably annoying for Kenny to be look, I have to leave this player out, but we also have this player coming in. It's a difficult one, all right, for him.
Absolutely. But really, really excited. We'll get a quick prediction off you for the Armenia game, obviously away from home, lads. What are you thinking?
3-0.
3-0.
No. I got 3-0 to us. So
that's hugely speculative.
Well, the Luxembourg game.
Yeah.
That was that 3-1.
I think we're better away from home, actually.
We are, yeah.
So I'll go with 3-0. So I will.
Love the confidence.
I'm gonna say 2-0 Ireland. I'm gonna say
2-0 Ireland. I like that shit. I think I'll go with 2-0 as well. 2-0 Ireland. Come on, you boys in green. A huge international break coming up. We might have some more content potentially coming out during the international break as well, but we will be back, of course, with Cost Shop Domestic next week as well. A bumper long episode for you guys. Hope you did enjoy it. If you can, drop a like on the stream. It is much appreciated. And as we were saying, I don't think we're going to do it on stream, but if you can hit subscribe if you are new around here as well, it is greatly appreciated. We're only single digits away from 3K, so it'll be really do appreciate it if you can smash the subscribe button. And of course, as I said, do like the video. But yeah, Liam and Adzi, an absolute pleasure as always, my friends. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. See you next week.